My friend is so much fun.
He's always playing tricks on people.
He is so smart.
In fact, he's one of the most intelligent beings on the planet.
This friend can literally see through me. And I'm not kidding.
My friend races sailboats
And always wins.
My friend has no problem hitting a high no.
My friend can surf waves 25 feet high.
With no board.
I'd like to see you try that.
This friend can understand us, but we can't understand him.
He saves lives.
He saves lives.
He saved human lives.
He's always smiling.
But that doesn't mean that he's always happy.
My friend doesn't belong in captivity.
My friend does not belong in captivity.
He doesn't belong in captivity.
His home is in the ocean.
But my friend is in serious trouble.
In fact, he's fighting for his life right now.
Right now.
Right now. Off the coast of Japan, dolphins and porpoises are driven to a horrible fate.
The most attractive are chosen for life in captivity. The others are brutally killed.
Their meat, which contains toxic levels of mercury, is sold as food.
Majority of people in Japan don't even know this is happening.
Please help us end this senseless slaughter.
Please help us get the word out.
Please join us in getting the word out.
Help us get the word out.
Help us get the word out.
We are their biggest threat, and their only hope.
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 The Oscar-winning documentary, The Cove, those were some of the clips from it, and I thought that was somewhat relevant because these dolphins from Japan that are slaughtered in this cove end up all over the world. Some of them have even ended up here in Mexico. And what happens in Japan is what's called a drive slaughter, where boats go out on the horizon looking for dolphins, and when they find them using a wall of sound, in Japan they use a long pole that goes into the water, they bang on it with a hammer, and it creates this wall of sound that drives the dolphins.
Lo que está pasando en Japón es la caza de delfines. Lo que hacen los barcos es crean una pared de sonido por tomar un poste y lo golpean con un martillo. Entonces crean una pared de sonido que se espanta los delfines.
The dolphins are driven into the cove, and here's a scene from this year where we have two different species of dolphins in the killing cove.
Es una escena de dos especies de delfines que están en la caleta y esperando su muerte. Y eso es de este año.
The best dolphins are taken by trainers, a lot of which are AMATA trainers. AMATA is the worldwide governing body for the trainers organization. These dolphins are shipped, many to Japan, because in Japan they have over 50 dolphinariums, similar to Mexico. It's a very small country, but many dolphinariums, the size of California, but more dolphinariums than all of the United States. And they're basically disposable dolphins for the disposal society. And when one dies, they just buy another one to replace it. But these dolphins do end up all over the world, and the capture process is completely brutal.
Los más bonitos los envían en Japón a otras partes del mundo, a algunos aquí en México, pero son reemplazables. Uno se muere y capturan otro para reemplazarlo. Entonces, y la manera en cómo capturan los delfines es inhumano, es muy cruel.
You can see from these photos the capture process is very, very violent.
El proceso de captura es muy violento.
But many people, because of the code, and most people here probably have seen the code, know about this issue in Japan, but I wanted to talk a little bit about actually the largest slaughter of dolphins in the world, which is in the Solomon Islands. And this is the original drive slaughter. This slaughter has been going on, we believe, more than 700 years. Whereas Japan, it only started in the late 1950s.
Que, pues, muchos de ustedes ya saben del Cove por la película, pero esas, las Islas Solomon, eso es donde empezó originalmente las matanzas de delfines. y ha pasado por los últimos 700 años.
Right now in Japan, on average, about 750 dolphins per year are being slaughtered. The average in the Solomon Islands, in just the one main dolphin hunting village, is 850 per year.
En Japón son casi 750 delfines que matan al año, pero aquí en las islas, en solo una pequeño pueblo, son casi 850 delfines al año.
I'll play a small video from an Animal Planet show we did called Blood Dolphins, and this is just a small 2-minute commercial so you can understand the issue a little better.
From above, the Solomon Islands have the look of unspoiled tropical paradise. A seemingly ideal destination for adventurous travelers seeking an uncommon experience. But look closer. The jungle canopy conceals a past drenched in blood. From ancient headhunters and cannibals to bitter ethnic violence and civil strife, to thousands of American soldiers who died at the Battle of Guadalcanal during World War II. Given that history, it's no surprise that the Solomons today are notorious on a very different front. As a major crossroads for the blood trade in wild dolphins.
The first time I came here, it was quite dangerous. You know, you're always looking over your shoulder here and wondering who's following you, who's watching you. It's a difficult place to work.
Rick O'Barry is no ordinary activist. The star of the Oscar-winning film The Cove, O'Barry is a legend in the captive dolphin industry.
It's all about respect now, not exploitation.
During the 1960s, he worked at Miami Seaquarium and trained Flipper for the hit TV series. But after Flipper died in captivity, Rick turned from exploiter to defender.
Behind us, private eye. Here comes the data.
Now, a mission to the Solomon Islands presents one of Rick's most daunting challenges ever. Live dolphin export is both legal and lucrative here. In recent years, at least 100 dolphins have been exported to sea parks and swim programs from Mexico to Dubai, fetching prices up to $200,000 an animal. The spark for Rick's latest mission comes from an unlikely source. A dolphin dealer named Chris Porter, who says he has reformed and turned against the captive industry. The live trade thrives here, in part, thanks to an ancient tribal tradition of dolphin hunting, a legal practice in the Solomons. The dealers depend on the indigenous hunters to help supply dolphins. For Rick, it's simple cause and effect. Stop the hunt, and the trade will wither away.
We want to create jobs for these people. Dolphins are important, but people are important too. The best solution is to find sustainable alternatives. Find ways for these folks to make a decent living.
Negotiating a hunting moratorium with the dolphin villages will be a delicate undertaking for Rick and his most trusted lieutenant. His son, Lincoln, an activist and filmmaker who has worked alongside his father for years.
We're going to be in the middle of nowhere with all our gear and sleeping on the floor in these villages, and hopefully we're not seen as the enemy. It's really a pins and needles kind of finesse thing.
In a place where live dolphins are worth their weight in gold, and dolphin teeth are valued as currency, the O'Barry's latest operation will be an uphill struggle. Not just to save dolphins, but to capture hearts and minds.
I don't sit at the right-hand side of God and have the answers to all of these problems. But I know it's wrong. And when this level of cruelty is absolute, we all should be doing everything absolutely to stop it.
Hunt is it's happens in a very, very remote region called the Solomon Islands next to Papua New Guinea. These islands get less than 10,000 visitors a year, probably more like 2,000 tourists a year, so it's very remote. And the actual village where the dolphin hunting happens is even more remote. It takes 2 or 3 days to actually get there. This is more of a close-up island, a map of the Solomons. And this island over on the right, this long one, Maleta, this is the dolphin hunting island. And most of the dolphin hunting happens down at the south end. There are other villages, for instance, that they treasure bat teeth or dog teeth. This village just happens to be that dolphins are revered. And so the teeth are used for all sorts of things. They're used ceremonial for when there's a wedding in this village. They use a bride price system. And the dowry for a wife is usually 1,000 to 3,000 dolphin teeth, maybe 5 to 10 pigs, maybe 50 bags of rice. Dolphin hunting also represents unity for the village because it takes 40 men to go hunt the dolphins, and they do it by getting in these canoes and paddling sometimes 30 miles, 40 miles out to open ocean, spreading out over 10 miles with canoes. And when one man sees a dolphin, they raise the flag, and it signals the other men to start bringing the dolphins in that U shape, that drive slaughter.
Esta zona no es muy conocida porque está muy lejos de todo, son unas islas pequeñas, quizás reciben 2,000 turistas al año, imagínate en comparación de Cancún. En esa isla a la derecha, Malaita, es donde hacen la caza de delfines. Más en el sur hay un pueblito y es donde cazan los delfines porque los dientes son más importantes, son súper importantes para ese pueblito. En otras áreas, los dientes de murciélagos son más importantes. Y también cuando se casan hay que comprar la novia con 1,000 o 3,000 dientes de delfines en este pueblito, en su cultura. Entonces, por eso la caza de delfines es muy importante para este pueblito. Además, es una forma de unidad en la comunidad porque como 40 hombres salen en sus canoas hasta 50 kilómetros de la orilla para buscar esos delfines.
So the reason I'm bringing up the Solomons is because we found this correlation that wherever you find dolphin hunting, the dolphin dealers recognize that if a country allows people to slaughter dolphins, they'll probably allow the export. And for a long time, the Solomons was right along Taiji as the largest exporter of dolphins in the world. And they exported them to Dubai, they exported them to Mexico, the Philippines. Luckily, as of right now, we have a good government in place in the Solomons, and they've outlawed currently the export of dolphins. So for now, that is off the books. This is actually Fanalei. This is Fanalei. This is the dolphin hunting island, and most of the island is empty. The village just lives at this very small tip, and it's a very indigenous village that lives in, you'll see some of the houses. And this is the passage below us that they would bring the dolphins in. And these mangroves up at the top is where they drive the dolphins into these mangroves, and that would be their version of the cove. And then in that scene in the video I just showed, they're putting the dolphins into the canoe. They bring them back to their beach where they decapitate them and eventually cook them down.
Entonces es la islita donde viven los habitantes para cazar los delfines y persiguen a los delfines hacia la caleta y lo usan como el cove, como en Taiji.
So this would be one of the traditional houses. You can see they build up because this island is maybe 6 inches above sea level. You can see at the high tide, the village actually goes underwater.
Pues son las casas indígenas y están altas porque la marea, los niveles entre marea alta y baja pues son drásticos y por eso las casas están construidas más arriba.
So they are actually, believe it or not, these villages, some of the very first sea level, they're running from the sea level basically. Their way of life is over because in the next few years this village will go underwater and they're going to have to move across. And these people are known as the saltwater people. They are fishing people. There's nothing can grow on this little bit of rock. Across the way, when you saw the mountains, those are known as the bush people. And even though they live next to the sea, they don't even know how to swim. They don't know how to use canoes. they rely on this village to do all the fishing.
Entonces este pueblo depende del mar, pero el nivel del mar está subiendo, entonces ya va a desaparecer su pueblito, pero depende del mar y toda su vida está en el mar.
So they're some of the first sea level climate change refugees.
Entonces son los primeros refugios del cambio del nivel del mar, del cambio de climático.
These are some of the people of Solomon Islands, and they're known as Malaytans, as opposed to Polynesians. Polynesians would be more like people from Tahiti. Malaytans are more closely related to in Africa and in Australia, the Aboriginals, and they get this really blonde hair and these blue eyes. This is just maybe 5 minutes of me walking on the beach, and you can find dolphin jawbones and turtle bones. There's a dolphin vertebrae.
Son unos huesos de delfines que encontró en la playa.
This is one of the dolphin hunters in one of his canoes.
Cazador de delfín.
These are some of the hunters. And like I said before, they use this method where they go out and each 1 or 2 men per canoe, and when one man sees a dolphin, he'll raise that flag, and that signals to the next canoe that maybe is half a mile away to start moving in a certain direction, to start driving the dolphins into shore.
Usan un sistema de la bandera. Cuando un hombre ve un delfín, alza la bandera para señalar a su compañero que se movía hacia una dirección para ya perseguir los delfines.
And you can see the distances. This is showing them how big of a circle they form, and they make it smaller and smaller, and then drive the dolphins inside that small cove there.
Entonces forman un semicírculo y ya es grande, pero lo hacen más pequeño para hasta que llegan a la caleta.
And for a while, they catch about 6 species over the past 100 years. They're mostly catching spinner dolphins, and the spinners pretty much give up. The second they drive them into the mangroves, the dolphins, you can literally, they just grab them and throw them into the canoes. There's no fighting back. Whereas the bottlenose put up a big fight.
Capturan como 6 especies de delfines. Uno son los spinners o tiradores. Y han notado que cuando llegan a caleta ya renuncian y casi lo pueden agarrar así vivos y lo tiran a su canoa.
This is a village next door about a mile away, and they also have traditionally hunted dolphins for about 500 years, but they haven't hunted for maybe 20 years now because of sea level rise is changing the shape of the bottom, and they're not able to drive dolphins in. And at one point, over 100 people about 5 years ago lived on this island. They've now moved across to the mainland because they're going underwater.
Esos son efectos del cambio climático. Hace 5 años había
about 100 families.
Como 100 familias que vivieron aquí, pero tenían que abandonar sus casas por el nivel del mar. Entonces ya ven los efectos climáticos. Ya no pueden cazar los delfines por eso.
I was lucky enough when I was there last time to actually be there when they had a bride price ceremony. This would be the bride in the middle with her mother-in-law and her mother on both sides. And you can see the dolphin teeth. The bigger teeth on the right would be bottlenose, and some of the smaller teeth are spinner dolphin.
Ahí está la novia en el medio con su mamá y pueden ver los collares de los dientes de delfines. Los más grandes son del nariz de botella y los otros serían de giradores o spinners.
This would be also part of the dowry, these different kinds of taro, and then on the left over there you see hanging, that's shell money, which is used all throughout the South Pacific as a form of currency.
También eso es más por el pago de la novia, hay taro, hay conchas también, arroz.
This was typically everyone's not walking around with their dolphin teeth because it was a wedding, everyone got their best teeth out, it was showing them off.
Porque es una boda, todos ponen sus mejores dientes porque es una boda o evento especial.
These would be bottlenose teeth.
Es un nariz de botella.
So when they get the dolphins, they take the teeth out, and it's interesting because they use what's called a prize system to divide everything up. It's pretty ingenious. 10% of the teeth off the top go to the Anglican church, and they have a small church on the island.
Cuando agarran un delfín, sacan los dientes, pero hay un sistema de premio, entonces los más grandes, perdón, 10% van a una iglesia, anglo,
Church of England.
es la iglesia de Inglaterra y le dan los dientes a esa iglesia.
Then the largest portion of the teeth would go to the 40 hunters that were on the boats. The second biggest share would be all the women and children that helped on the beach kill and clean the dolphins. And then the smallest share goes to the elderly and widows and people that have moved away from the village. So whenever there is a dolphin hunt, every single person in the village is somehow affected. They either get teeth or they get meat.
Entonces, cada persona recibe algo de la casa del delfín. Puede ser la carne, los dientes, pero cada persona sí está afectado de la casa del delfín.
And then the meat is taken into the bush where they have a local market every week, and there is no money exchange in this market. It's all barter, so they would exchange, the dolphin hunting village will exchange meat with all the bush tribes for the different vegetables and bananas and taro and things like that, because they're not able to grow anything.
Entonces hay un sistema de intercambio donde vende la carne con otro pueblo que tiene más verduras, nos hacen un sistema de intercambio y no hay cambio de dinero.
This is on the right, this is Dr. Sarah Meltzoff, and she is probably the world's leading authority on this village in the Solomon Islands. It's Dr. Sarah Meltzoff.
Esa es la doctora Sarah Meltzoff, que es uno de las líderes en esta región del estudio del delfín.
She runs our campaign for the Dolphin Project in the Solomon Islands, and she first did her doctoral dissertation on this village in 1973, and she's been coming there all the time since then. And this is actually 8mm video she took in the village in 1973. On our last trip there, we actually digitized all this footage, brought a projector with us, and showed them the movie for the first time ever. They don't even have television. They got to see the movie of themselves and their parents and their grandparents from 35 years ago. And it was quite overwhelming. People paddled from villages all around to come see this.
Entonces, ella es la directora del Dolphin Project en la isla Solomon, y ese es un video que ella grabó en 1973, cuando fue la primera vez que fue allá y para hacer su doctorado y su tesis ahí.
And life has not changed there much since the 70s. Time has pretty much stood still there.
Que realmente no ha cambiado mucho el estilo de vida.
This is Dr. Meltzoff speaking inside. The building she's in is called a towhee, and this is actually like the dolphin spirit house. And before there's a dolphin hunt, the men only will come into this room, and they have a special dolphin prayer that they recite. And then this is also where they have community meetings and things like that. But we're helping to organize the village. We created a women's group, which they didn't have before. So now the women are kind of the motor running the village now, which is great.
Están creando organizaciones de mujeres que están pues ya siendo líderes de la comunidad. Y antes fue una casa de la comunidad donde hacían, donde rezaban antes de ir a cazar los delfines.
So part of the way we've been doing education is through virtual reality. And if you're going to be here tomorrow, I'm going to do a small talk of virtual reality. I have the goggles with me if people want to see the movie. But we have a short documentary made about wild dolphins. And it really, for the first time, allows you, no matter where you are in the world, to have that experience of seeing dolphins underwater, in the wild, on their terms. And it's really revolutionary equipment. I mean, this could easily replace SeaWorld. It's so much more educational, and it puts you in water with the animals on their terms, which has never really been done before.
Es un sistema revolucional para educar a la gente cómo se siente nadar con los delfines en su mundo, y es realmente increíble la tecnología que puede hacer esto, y esto puede reemplazar cosas como SeaWorld porque te da la experiencia de estar en su mundo de los delfines y las orcas.
I've been going to the Solomons since 2009, but for the past 3 years I've intensified my efforts there. And so a lot of what we're doing is trying to, like you heard in that video, we're trying to win hearts and minds, because that's how you solve these issues. If going there and protesting or telling these people what to do is never going to solve anything. It's about gaining their trust and winning hearts and minds.
Sí, la manera es llegar y ganar corazones, porque no No vas a ganar algo si llegas como extranjero diciéndoles que tienen que cambiar su vida, su cultura por miles de años, pero es educar y ganar los corazones de la gente.
So over the past 2 years, I've been working with the village just listening and creating a list of all the things the village needs or wants that could improve life and quality for the people in the village. And would they be willing to trade that for dolphin hunting, to end the dolphin hunt? And so as a sign of good faith, every time I come to the village, there's this one building that's always sitting there empty and the kids are kind of playing around in it. And they told me like 4 years ago they built this structure hoping that if they built this is a school, that the government would kick in and pay for teachers, which never happened. So this has been sitting here now empty for 4 years. So when I was there 3 months ago, I agreed that I would build them the school and pay for teachers for 2 years to kickstart them, as just a sign of good faith to show that if the Dolphin Project says we're going to do something, we're going to do it. And within 2 weeks, I had the school built, and now this is the second month it's open, and 65 kids are now going to school. These are some of our teachers there in the middle. There's the school.
Primero llegó a escuchar las necesidades de la gente y qué necesitaban para mejorar sus vidas y qué necesitaban para renunciar a la casa de delfines.
So not only we go to school and have the teachers, but then I sent down doctorate students who are getting their PhDs in environmental education, and they actually help write the curriculum. So they're using the regular Solomon Island curriculum, but we've also tailored it to be exactly for their area. So the animals they learn about, the fauna, is all things that they see on a daily basis, and they're learning about how everything is interconnected.
Y mandó maestros, estudiantes haciendo sus doctorados y mandaron a enseñar a esta escuela, pero hicieron el currículum especialmente para esos niños y esa cultura, para que aprendan de su ambiente, de los animales que están ahí, y adaptaron el sistema de educación solo para ellos.
Some of the other projects that we're proposing to bring to the village is beekeeping. We're looking at building them a clinic.
Otros proyectos son las abejas y una clínica.
And I'm looking to sign with them a 20-year MOU where we will agree for 20 years that there'll be a complete stop to all slaughters, which for me I think is enough time to go by that it won't resume again after that.
Y está tratando de hacer un acuerdo en que por los próximos 20 años no van a matar ni un delfín por los cambios en que hizo el Dolphin Project.
So here I'm going to jump around a little bit. I just kind of threw this presentation together, but this is part of, I just came from Indonesia where we have another project very similar to what's going on in Mexico. We have a proliferation of dolphin swim programs. They're everywhere in Indonesia. There's dolphin traveling circuses.
Eso está en Indonesia y es como México, hay muchos nadar con los delfines y hay circos que viajan con los delfines.
So in Indonesia the situation is that basically every dolphin is illegal in captivity because the way the aquariums get them is they hire a fisherman who goes out and catches a dolphin. Then he radios in that the dolphin has accidentally been caught in his fishing nets. He now needs the aquarium to come rescue it. The aquarium comes and takes the dolphin, it never leaves the aquarium, and that's how they all got in captivity.
El sistema en Indonesia es que contratan un pescador que salga para llamar al acuario diciendo que un delfín se quedó atrapado en su red, pero realmente pues lo sabemos, y entonces abre el acuario y va a rescatar el delfín, pero nunca se va del acuario.
So about 5 years ago I signed an MOU with the Indonesian government, and we built Camp Lumba Lumba. This is the first permanent dolphin rehabilitation center in the world.
Es el primer santuario de delfines y centro de rehabilitación en el mundo.
We're actually just doing some construction on it here. It's been 6 years since we built it, and we have yet to actually get dolphins in the pen. But what has happened is There has not been one capture of dolphins in Indonesia since I built the sea pen, because now legally, if a dolphin accidentally gets captured by a fisherman, legally he must come here.
Y casualmente, desde que construyeron esto, no ha habido ni una captura del delfín, porque si capturan un delfín, tiene que ir a este sea pen automáticamente, pero casualmente no ha capturado ningún delfín.
And what it does, I mean, this costs like, it probably cost $5,000 to build this, and it changed the entire conversation, because if instead of talking about this theoretical place that we're going to build and maybe take dolphins to, we now have it, and it changes the conversation to, why aren't there dolphins in our sea pen? And it puts more pressure on the dolphin area.
Y esto pone mucho más presión en los delfinarios, y la pregunta, ¿por qué no hay delfines en el santuario?
So we've already started high-level talks with the Mexican government about scouting a location for the first thing like this in Mexico as well.
Y quieren hacer esto en México, y están hablando con el gobierno para ver dónde pueden poner el primer santuario de delfines en México.
Readapting and releasing dolphins is not a new thing. It's been, the Dolphin Project's worked on we've helped readapt and release over 20 dolphins back in the wild, many here in South and Central America. These were 2 dolphins in captivity in Guatemala that we readapted and released. This is preparing the freeze brand. This was the sea pen that we built for it.
Que han ayudado a rehabilitar muchos delfines en los últimos 20 años. Entonces no es nada nuevo, es algo que se puede hacer.
This was another one, a readaptation release of 2 dolphins in Georgia, the United States. And you can see the freeze brand.
Esa es una marca de la aleta.
This was Flipper, and he was the last captive dolphin in Brazil, and this is the moment before he was released, when the fence was cut.
Es el famoso Flipper.
You know, all dolphins, unless a dolphin's got a serious communicable disease, all dolphins can be put into a natural sea pen. They all can be readapted. It's whether they can be released or not, and that's really a case-by-case basis. It's just like people. Like, there's some people that go to jail and walk out of jail 30 years later like nothing happened, and there's other people that go to jail for 2 years and they lose their minds. So it's really a case-by-case basis, and if you go on the Dolphin Project website, we have a section in Spanish, and we have the protocol that my dad has written over the past 40 years on readapting and releasing captive dolphins back in the wild. And you can read that protocol. It's free for anyone. We hope any group around the world will take it and use it. This is something that's been done before. It's more about can it be done economically and quickly. You know, it's when I look at like the free really that whole campaign, they spent millions and millions and millions of dollars kind of just perpetuating this sanctuary. Most of the dolphin releases we've done are very quick releases. We haven't gotten a situation now where we've had to take care of a dolphin and say for the next 20 years. We've just been able to try to prove that it can be done and be done quickly and easily and for low money.
Hay pruebas que sí se pueden rehabilitar los delfines y que cualquier delfín puede vivir en el santuario, pero hay que ver cada delfín caso por caso para ver si realmente pueden liberarlos en el mar salvajes. Pero es un caso por caso y hay mucha información en su página que pueden ver. También hay una sección en español que explica todo lo que se requiere para cada delfín para rehabilitarse.
That's it.